Good afternoon. Welcome to the Norfolk Board of Selectmen's meeting on Christmas Eve, unfortunately. It is 12:10. We're a few minutes late in getting this underway. We have a very, very brief agenda. I want to remind everybody, by the way, that this meeting is being both audio and videotaped and is subject to the open meeting laws. My name is Jim Lehan. To my right is Mr. Colombo. To my left is Mr. Calcutt. To his left is Susan Jacobson, our administrative assistant. The agenda this evening is to talk about the Mass Building Authority Grant Funds Agreement, which needs to be signed rather quickly, which is the reason we called this meeting. We have two action items, which is the grant funding agreement for the H Olive Day, and please consider of two licenses, common vehicular license, entertainment class 1, 2, and 3. We'll give more detail when we get to each of those. We're just going to have a brief discussion on the town administrator interview process and just acknowledging some recent communication received by the Board of Selectmen that we will not be deliberating in this meeting. Would you please join me for a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, Matt, you're on, buddy.
Alright, so as everybody knows, the Olive Day was getting up there in the years, and it needs a new roof. We're leaking all over the place. It's not like a house where you just rip off a layer and put another layer on. We have to address several issues with the buildings, the structure. The way to get funding on this is go through the MSBA. We met all the criteria. We were invited to be part of their accelerated repair program. What that means, and kind of what you guys are here to do, is they're willing to pay 51.63% of the project, of the eligible cost of the project, to assist us in the replacement of the roof. Right now, I have Chris Carroll and Matt Galini from
Gentlemen, welcome.
PMA. They are our assigned OPMs from the MSBA. They assign us a designer who is Gil, is the architect, and PMA is the OPM. So we've already done some funding for this project to get the schematic design phase going, and we have to get this in quickly so we can be one of the first out of the chute for the springtime to go ahead and get the building repaired over the summertime. So this is the timeline we have to follow. The building is going to need more than just asphalt shingles. We need to do some repair in the trusses. We have to bring it up to today's energy standards, which will include adding insulated decking, which will bring the R value up and help the town save some funds on the heating cost of that building. But we have to do all new metal work on it because it's all failing. And we're going to have everything above the mortar, or everything above the brick will be either new facade or new roof. So we're going to put in a high-end 50-year shingle, so we'll never have to talk about this again. There's not really any other pathway to go.
You're talking about in our lifetime.
We want to do it at a first rate, a good quality job. We've already been looking at some of the specifications, but we've had the building department already weigh in on this. But the anticipated budget for this project is now at 2.938, and out of that, as of right now, the addition of the building, which was everybody knows, if you look at the Olive Day, you have the main building and you have the addition on the side. That does not presently fall under MSBA. They will not accept it as of right now. We're trying to sell it as an entire project because it's not aged, it's not old enough. So our exposure on the total project.
Matt, can I just ask you a quick question? I apologize, but the extension was, the school was built in '93. The additional 8 classrooms were built, I think, in '98, weren't they?
Yes, they went online in '99. They have to be 25 years old to qualify for MSBA funding. The addition is actually the worst part of the entire structure. That's where we have the majority of the leaks. That is where we have the addition was not built the same quality as the main building, and because of how it was designed and constructed, it's actually had significant failure already. A couple of years ago, we had structural collapse and part of the original building, which had been addressed under an insurance claim. But with this project, it's 2.938215, all in price. They feel very
Say that again?
2.9.
Oh, yeah, oh, you've said that.
38215, and out of that, the maximum total reimbursement from MSBA as of today is 1.303730, which is 51% minus the 427 that's not presently approved by the MSBA. We're actively trying to sell it as a one-project deal because it doesn't meet the criteria by 4 years. It's the worst. We want to do a one system throughout the whole building, so it doesn't make sense not to do it all at once. And that's actually the worst area as far as leaks and frost. So
We also have 952,000, I believe.
Nine.
952 or 954, one or the other.
we're looking
It's returned from the Freeman Kennedy project.
close out the project. We just received that from SBA this fall. So that was going to be slated to, it has to be used for a lake project. So this is the perfect.
So that's $700,000 shortfall.
Yes, sir. So I presented to Sue and you guys the motion that you will support this project. It's obviously pending funding spring town meeting, but the town's exposure will be around $700,000 additional funds. We really can't afford not to do the project because the building's actively leaking throughout. My guys are amazing at cutting new tiles and patching stuff as fast as we can, but we're gonna have issues if we don't do it, and it's only getting older. And seeing that we have the majority of the money, 51% of 90% of the or 81% of the project, it's a pretty good deal.
Questions, gentlemen?
No, I mean, it sounds like this has already been accommodated for. It's something that we knew was on the horizon and we had something put away for it. Just overshot just a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean that in a relative sense, of course.
You guys, one of the issues we're
Well
at,
said.
the addition trusses is where we've kind of gone higher than we were anticipating. We weren't expecting it. The original architect that did the addition is no longer in business. The trusses that were in there were specified in the plans at 30 pounds per square inch of a live load, and even back then they should have been 35. So part of the issue, and why this number's inflated some, and we're hoping it'll go down, is that we're not sure if the trusses that are there currently capable of handling. Basically, what they had to do is put another layer of insulation and decking on top of the entire roof structure. So we're not sure if they can physically handle the weight. So we have to do an audit, and that's all factored into this price.
Mhm.
Worst case scenario should be this price.
Yep.
But this price could significantly drop. But we're kind of we don't want to have unknowns and go, we want to be prepared, so. But that's the issue, is we can't find out some of the original trusses for the addition, and we cannot get the data on them.
Yeah, Kevin, you're right. This is an old issue. We've known about this problem for a while. It's not the first time we've attacked this roof since it all started, and we have been funding it. I think the original number was about 1.2 to 1.5.
That was, yes.
Which we felt really comfortable with. We had more than enough to cover that, and it's just escalated as we've gone through this. But this is a worst-case scenario. We're hoping that it'll be less, so we can cut that deficit down. Hopefully, we can get it into the 2.2 range, which would be wonderful, then it's a covered expense, but we have to do this. I've actually been up in there, and it's not that I can tell one way or the other, although I can see a leak. That much I can do. It is in dire need of repair.
Truly.
I sent you a note earlier today. I appreciate you putting this together for us, so I had an opportunity to review it.
Makes you wonder about the
So I
state
can
bidding
appreciate
process,
that
doesn't it?
we're looking at this as a maximum, because one of the things that I was struck by, in a positive sense, there's very little cost associated with the electrical, plumbing, HVAC, which those things can add up very quickly in a project. So that being the case, I was surprised the number is as high as it is, because those types of things can be very costly, very quickly, and they're not. So I think you've explained it, that there's some potential issues with trusses and such that we may not even know until we get into the work, I think is what I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
So, beyond that, just a question in terms of process. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this work was necessary to begin the process as far as the Mass School Building Commission and such, in terms of their record of work and approval and authorization. So the next step at some point in the process is for bid packages to really get dialed in a bit closer in terms of what we're talking about here for true, more accurate cost estimates, if you will. Maybe this estimate is plus or minus something from an engineering standpoint, and then we can perhaps get something a little closer in the next phase of the project. Is that the?
Yes, so Chris Carroll with PMA. So the process requires that in schematic design, we have to generate the conceptual design, the package you have in front of you, along with the specs and the outline of the contract, and develop cost estimates based on that schematic design, submit it to the MSBA by January 2nd to support their February Board of Director voting, which will approve the project to move forward. Once that happens, the design development will continue with the architect, and at that point, we begin to refine the design. We met with the building inspector this morning, looking at some of the features that are in the schematic design for potential savings. So we'll be pursuing that with the architect to look at those cost savings. And we will have additional updated cost estimates as we get into that design development and construction document phase before we go out to bidding. And once we go out to bidding, hopefully it'll be early spring, as Matt indicated.
We're gonna have to put it out to bid pending funding from Springtown meeting, because we don't wanna be, spring's not till May, and we wanna get this, the minute school's over, because this is a 3-month project. And we need every minute of summer to get it done.
Right.
So we're gonna put it out to bid hopefully before we even go to
Sooner the
Springtown
better.
meeting, just
Yeah.
day after we can award the bid.
Yeah,
So
our
the-
town and how many other towns are gonna be looking
Yes.
for those resources, right?
So a little different on this project where you're dealing with the asphalt roof as opposed to a membrane roof, so it's a little different. You may not be as overly competitive with other towns on that type of roofing.
We'll hope.
Most buildings use like the rubber roof, and this being like this building in our homes.
Yeah.
Right, so today's vote is to provide the authorization for SBAB and get on with this so that they'll be there.
The
Board of Directors
authorization
meeting
today
and we can
is
get
to
the
have
approved
you
funding.
approve the project, the funding, and the schematic design submission to the MSBA so that they can then bring it to their board for February.
Matt, do you have the exact wording of what that motion would be?
Sure, I can read it aloud.
Yeah.
That the town of Norfolk Board of Selectmen have reviewed and hereby approve the schematic design submission for the H. Olive Day School Accelerated Repair Project as presented to the Selectmen on December 24, 2018, to be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority under its Accelerated Repair Program. The schematic design submission includes the total project budget in the amount of $2,938,215 for all current known estimated cost of the H. Olive Day School Accelerated Repair Project for the replacement of the roof and associated features on the existing school located at 232 Main Street, Norfolk, Mass. 02056, including the payment of all costs, incidentals, or related thereto. The project, which proposed repair project, would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the town of Norfolk may be eligible for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, said amount to be expended under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. To meet this proposed funding appropriation, the Board of Selectmen, upon approval of the project by the Massachusetts School Building Authority's Board of Directors, would put forth a warrant article for the spring 2019 town meeting and town vote authorization, seeking authorization for the appropriation of said amount under MGL Chapter 44 or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The town of Norfolk acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any project costs the town of Norfolk incurs excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town of Norfolk, provided further that any grant that the town of Norfolk may receive from the MSBA for the project shall not exceed the lesser of 51.63% of eligible approved project cost as determined by the MSBA, or 2, the total maximum grant amount determined by the MSBA, provided that any appropriation hereunder shall be subject and contingent upon the affirmative vote of the town to exempt the amounts required for payment of interest and principal on said borrowing from the limitations on taxes imposed by MGL 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, and said and that the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town of Norfolk and the MSBA.
All right, I think I got all that. I moved that the town of Norfolk, no, I'm just kidding, so moved.
You don't want to repeat it?
No, I'm good.
Do I have a second?
I may want to repeat. Second.
Obviously, Sue, you have it in writing.
I'm gonna have Matt send me the language.
We have it right here. Any further discussion? All in
so
favor?
I can cut
Aye.
and paste.
Matt, just as an aside, I want to thank you for your diligence and hard work on this, and the precise approach that you've taken to this, and the accuracy of your information, and I would add into that the public safety building as well. You have done exceptional work for us, and
Thank you.
we're grateful. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, for people at home that can't see the Gantt charts and the other information, so this is a package of information that Matt has prepared, working with the engineers, so thank you.
So thank you for your hard work. Gentlemen, and we wish you a joyful and healthy and happy holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
We'll really wish it to you if you can get that price down to about 2.2.
We will work on it.
All right.
Had discussions with the
The
architects.
gentlemen will all sign that, those.
You want to have them do it right now, so
Yeah, let's sign it.
there's 4 of them.
Okay, thank you. Already got it done.
While Kevin is signing, let's, if you don't mind, Kevin, can we go right to the licenses?
Yep.
Which are pretty boilerplate for us. Sue, you want to go through those?
Sure. Please consider approving the following license renewals expiring at the end of the year. Alcohol license for Silla's Coffee House, all alcohol on premise. Common victualler licenses for Silla's Coffee House, Organic Buzz Cafe and Juice Bar. Entertainment, there's one license again for Silla's Coffee House. Class 2 license for Joseph Wolf, DBA Auto Clinic.
Let's do Silla's first.
Okay.
Okay. Have a motion to approve those licenses. Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Or
Goes-
you want to do Organic Juice and Buzz, Organic Buzz Cafe and Juice Bar.
Whatever's next on the list.
Okay,
I'm sorry, so just to be clear, we just approved the 3 licenses for Silla's, not
That-
just the first for Silla's, right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
So next, let's go to the Organic Buzz Cafe and Juice Bar for a common victualler license.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and moving right along, Class 2, Joseph Wolf, DBA Auto Clinic, and Paul Roach, DBA Norfolk Auto, Inc.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Just all is well with building inspector and police chief?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And finally, a Class 3 for Paul Roach, DBA Norfolk Auto, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're almost there, Matt.
So let's pass these.
Um,
and start
Brief
those.
discussion. We have the search committee, or selection committee, whatever one wants to call it, is bringing forward 3 finalists for the Board of Selectmen to consider. The resumes for these 3 finalists will be forwarded to us electronically, I believe, on Wednesday. We are scheduled for interviews on January 3rd. We had blocked out 4 times originally. Now we have 3. So when would you gentlemen like to start that process? We need to allow an hour and a half per candidate. So we could start at 4, 4:30, 5. I mean, all of those are reasonable times. I think if we wait till 6, the last candidate's going to be really late. So I'm probably more flexible in my schedule than you gentlemen are, so whatever you think.
So we originally discussed 4 o'clock, but you're thinking that that might be,
If we can stay with 4, it would be 4, 5:30, and 7, so we'd be here, the interviews would go till 9 o'clock if we started at 4.
8:30.
Well, if all goes well, which has not been the case lately.
Kevin will keep us on.
That'd be wonderful.
I would prefer to
I
just.
would suggest that whatever time we schedule for the first interview, that we meet a half hour prior to that. to review the questioning process. We don't have another meeting between now and then. Scott is going to provide us an outline of the process. We have to ask the same questions of all candidates. We're individually free to to go in any direction we so choose based on their responses, but we have to provide the same format to each of the candidates. So I think it would be helpful to meet a half an hour ahead of time. So if we wanted to meet at 4 and start the interviews at 4:30, that would work.
That works.
Yep, that works.
So
Okay,
we'll,
so I'll keep it as a posted meeting to start at 4, but I will change it so that our first interview starts at 4:30.
so we'll go 4:30, 6, and 7:30. That work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perfect, I'll make that change.
All right. Thank you very much. Last time on the agenda is just, we've received some recent communication to the board. I responded per our communication policy that I acknowledged receipt and said that the board would be looking into the issues raised. I've asked Sue to pull all pertinent information associated with what the email address is. It'll take her some time to do that. There's a lot there. The employees in question clearly have a right to respond from their perspective in terms of the events cited. And I don't see that we're really going to get to this probably until our January 22nd meeting, because this will take some time to put all this information together, but I assured the person that we would address the issues. You guys have all seen the communication. Any thoughts, comments on next steps on this? I mean,
I look forward to resolving. It's really
that's a
it.
good comment.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner we can get some of these things behind us, the
Yeah.
better.
I mean, we might be able to get it on the 9th, depending on what else is going on, but we're going to certainly deliberate our choice for town administrator on that evening, so.
Is it the 9th?
The 8th.
Eighth.
I'm sorry, 8th. And then I
always
think the
get
next
nervous
meeting,
when a date changes and I've
Yeah.
already posted,
Sorry.
okay.
yeah, and the next meeting is the 22nd. So I'm anticipating the 22nd, but if we could do it earlier, that's fine. But I know there's a lot of information that you need to gather, and this isn't going to be a good week to do it, so.
I'll also be out of town that week, I believe.
The 22nd?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Why don't
I'll
you-
shoot for the 8th.
You want to change, can we change the date? You gone all week?
Gone all week.
Same here, actually.
You're gone all week too, okay?
So I'll shoot for the 8th then, Kevin,
Mhm.
if that's beneficial to
Yep.
you. Okay.
So that, is that, right now, that's the only meeting we have on?
No, we
No,
have
we
a
have the
meeting
8th.
on January 8th and January 22nd, but Kevin won't be here on
Yeah.
the 22nd,
What,
so.
what about the week before, Kevin? We could move it up a week.
The week before I'm here.
Would that
I'm
help?
free, so that would be the
Otherwise, we gotta
15th.
go all the way to February.
The 15th?
Or you want to play it by ear a little bit and see how heavy the agenda is, and if it can wait till February? Your pleasure. Whatever you guys think. You're the ones traveling.
Well, Kevin, would you prefer that we move that meeting anyway because you're not gonna be here for the 22nd? Or,
I would, actually.
And I agree with them. There are only 3 of us. I
Yeah.
think we should all try to make the
right,
meetings
so
as
then
best
why
we
don't
can.
we just move it to the 15th?
Well, if it
If
works
that,
with
if
you
that's what
gentlemen.
your preference is.
Um,
Jeff, are you available on the 15th?
We can pencil it in, and I'll find out after the holidays what my schedule is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to cancel the 22nd then, is what you're saying, which is fine. We need to be all here.
So do you want me to wait for Jeff to confirm before I repost that particular date in case
I
it's
have a-
Wednesday or Thursday?
I have a conflict on the 15th.
Okay.
And then the MMA meeting starts on the 18th. Well, what about the 29th? Kevin,
That works for me.
does the 29th work for you?
Right now, it does, and I'll find out more over the next few weeks.
Why don't we tentatively?
Yeah,
Well, I'll cancel the 22nd.
We can always change it.
I'll post for the 29th, but I can change
you
that.
can
We have
change it.
plenty of time.
Just do that. Just do that.
Okay,
And that way that we're at least covered through
Yep,
January.
all right.
perfect.
Mrs. Bedard, I received your email about 11:30 this morning. That's the first time I saw it. You're not on the agenda, so therefore we can't discuss it, but we will certainly address it. I do have this that I wanted to give you, which is that's provided by the town clerk, which is all of these issues associated with the open meeting laws in terms of what constitutes a violation and not constitute a violation. So I think this will answer your questions for you. That is the law.
It doesn't matter if I got that wrong, Mr. Lehan. What I should have followed up on is the inappropriateness of the employee's behavior.
We can't address it in this opportunity because you're not on the agenda. I apologize for that, but we will follow up on it.
That's fine.
All right, thank you. Hope you have a good holiday.
I hope you do too.
Thank you. Any other business, gentlemen?
That's everything.
For one day?
I think so.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn?
It's a heck of a way to finish the year, but
Well, it is what it is.
it is what it is.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all, and we wish everyone the happiest and healthiest and safest of holidays. Please enjoy your families.